Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be giving you a makeup tutorial on my signature daytime makeup look. First, start with brows. I'm using my Quick Face eyebrow pencil. I underline the underside of my eyebrows and the top side, and then I fill the product through. It's literally an easy step. It's not really that complicated in how I do my brows. I don't like to overcomplicate things. Makeup is something that is therapeutic and that I find myself using it to relax, and so whatever I do, I try not to overcomplicate it, because then it just ruins the whole reason why I'm doing it in the first place. So then next up, I like to set my brows with a brow gel. This one's from Scarlet Hill. I bought this I think earlier this year, if not late last year. It really helps keeping my brows in place, and for a daytime look, I like having my brows looking very natural. And I sometimes have a habit of like brushing and mushing my brows around, so at least this keeps them in place. They don't move. As liquidy as it is, it's not really too sticky or anything, but it works super well. Then after that, I normally clean up my brows with my concealer. I'm using my LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade 4, and this one's close to my complexion. I use my angled brush to clean up my brows on the underside of my brows on each side and the top side as well. As you can see, it does clean it up nicely, but not too like dramatic. Then I use my Elizabeth Arden hydrating serum on my face. I use a little bit because yeah, paler, but otherwise I do like to go in a bit more with it, because it does keep my skin plump and looking healthy. Skin prep is really important again when it comes to makeup. If your skin is good, your makeup sits really well. For foundation, I'm using my Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. This is a sample because I didn't have money to buy the actual bottle. But this is in the shade Rich Caramel. I like to focus more on the center of my face and then move outer, when it comes to coverage. And what I like about this foundation is that it is buildable. I would say it's a medium to full coverage foundation with a nice matte finish, and a little does go a long way, especially like I said, because it's daytime. You don't want to be putting too much and overcomplicating it. For daytime, I like to look like myself but enhanced. Nighttime routine, glam, super glam makeup is a whole nother thing, but for daytime, you just want to look like your natural self, and to getting a foundation that's a proper shade match for you is actually really important. So I'm really glad this one matches my skin quite well. So I blend in from the center and I move outwards on my forehead, the bottom of my cheek. Try and drag it, guys, the foundation to your chin and the lower. Then I use my Maybelline Fit Me concealers in the shade 40 and I think 35. I've used these concealers for a while, that they've now aged out. I first go in with the more, I don't say darker, but yeah, darker shade. That's the shade 40. I go on my nose, as you can see, underside of my eye, and just under my nose and just under my lip. That's the places where the light hits the most, obviously on your face. And then I go in with the lighter concealer just in the center of just under my eye. Then I fan it out a little bit and wait for it to dry out. And while I do that, after a while, I blend it in with my concealer. Not my concealer, my beauty blender. I don't know, I'm getting nervous. I think it's because I haven't done this in a while. So I blend it out with my concealer, my damp beauty blender. I bought this beauty blender from Temu a while ago. And then I also blend out in between with the beauty blender that I used with my foundation, just to make sure that everything is blended out seamlessly with my face. I like to take my time to blend it out because I've got a big forehead. I like to not drag my concealer all the way up to my forehead, so I just make sure that it just hits the one part where the light hits on my forehead, and then I blend out with my foundation as well. Drag it down to my nose. I like to finish off with the underside of my eye, so that that concealer is a bit more brighter compared to the other ones. Yeah, well, the longer you leave your concealer on your face to dry, the brighter it is. Yeah, well, but I don't want it to be too bright for daytime. I like it to be a more natural finish, a more natural look, if that makes sense. Then I like to have this little trick where I take my makeup brush and I pull this is the sides of my nose, or the sides of my nostrils. Or is it just my nose? Yeah, to make sure that concealer sits nicely between my nose and my face, my cheek. Yeah, it sits in nicely, and that product doesn't just sit funny and build up. So I blend up, I push it upwards. I use an upwards motion so that it lifts my face. I have a more of a round face, so you want to chisel out your face as much as possible. So obviously by highlighting, you're adding a bit more, I don't know how to say it, but you're adding to your face. Yeah, we're making your face a bit brighter, a bit wider. So you want to lift your face at the same time. Then when it comes to baking and to setting that concealer, I use my Revolution Bake and Plot palette in banana powder. It's a pressed powder. You can use a pressed powder in caramel or any pressed powder you like. I like to use this one because it's in the shape banana. It's like a banana powder, but it's pressed. So I used this spongy thing that I got from Temu as well. It's almost like that triangle fluffy thing. I'll write it on the screen because the name is just slipping me now, but again, there's the corner up. But I use that to set my concealer on the underside of my eyes, and the rest of it I use it on my face. Then I use my Quick Face loose powder, translucent powder, to set my face, to set the underside of my face and some parts of like my smile lines and whatnot. A quick trick is that I like to take this triangle powder puff. That's what it is, powder puff. I take it, I saturate it in that powder. Then I like to take out the excess, so whatever's left over, it's spread out evenly on that powder puff, and I don't have any weird blotches from powder, if that makes sense. I hope this all makes sense as I'm explaining it. Then during this time when there's a bit of powder left on my face, I like to then do a bit of eye. For daytime, I don't really like to do a hectic eyeshadow. It's either I use a bronzer or I use a nice warm colored tone for my eyelid. So in this case, I'm going to be using a more of a red peachish color from my Revolution eyeshadow palette, which is that one. I forgot the name of this eyeshadow palette, but I got it online. But they do have Revolution sold exclusively at Clicks. I use that more orangey reddish color, just the one shade. So I like to pack it up at the bottom where the fine lines are on my eyelids, just to set those. I like to pack it up there just to make sure there's enough color. And what I like about Revolution's eyeshadow palettes is that they're highly concentrated. They're highly pigmented, so you don't really need to like pack in too much. But they work well with those eyeshadow and makeup. Then I use a clean eyeshadow brush to clear out those other areas, to push it up onto my eyebrows, just to blend it out seamlessly, and it doesn't look too stocky. So I blend it out with my eyeshadow brush, making sure that it looks as natural-ish as possible, but without it looking as if I just placed eyeshadow there. Then I take my foundation powder brush and I use my which foundation is this? My gosh, I forgot now. It's my Essence powder in the shade True Caramel. I then start with the areas that I did put in baking powder earlier, just to create more of a seamless look. Sometimes when you bake and you use that banana powder, it does give those yellowy powdery looks. So once you add your actual foundation powder, that's your skin tone, it blends it out so nicely, like so it doesn't make it too starky yellow, so it blends it out nicely. So I use my Smudge Matte setting spray to set my face. Then I use my powder puff, the triangular one, to set that setting spray into my face, like to make sure it sits well into my face. This leaves such a beautiful finish. With any setting spray, just try it out. You spray it onto your face, take your powder puff, or I think with the beauty blender as well, you can do it, and just set it into your face. Let it sit into your face. It sets it so nicely. What I like about this setting spray is that it's a mattifying setting spray, so your face, like, it leaves your face like, it just makes your face last. I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, it makes your makeup last for a while. Then I use my Scarlet Hill blush stick. I think it's in the shade Candy Pop or something, I'm not sure, but I bought it a while ago from Mr. Price. It's the Scarlet Hill range. I have blush blindness, guys, so sometimes I don't know if I've put too much, but I think I did okay. But it got an element of me feeling like maybe I went in a little bit overboard. But like I said earlier on, when it comes to concealer, I like to lift, so I like to push it upwards onto my face, upwards, dragging it into my hair, not doing like that always do when you smile and put on a blush. Yeah, well, then after that, I went in with a bit of contouring. This is something that I have started doing recently to add a bit of warmth into my face. This is a contour stick, a contour concealer. I think I forgot the shade. I think it's called Dark Deep from Essence. I like to start with my forehead and drag it down. A little goes a long way when it comes to this product. As you guys see, I just literally put in 2 dots on each side of my forehead, and there's so much product that's coming through. So imagine if I went wild. So I like to push it in from my hairline going into my face, and then I like to create like an inner C. So I create like a C, to blend it out. Yeah, well, I like to use the motion of the letter C. Yeah, well, then I put a bit of that contour just under my blush. So remember, it's concealer with your highlight, it's your blush, and then it would be your contour. Right, if you just remember the placement like that, it will be easier to remember the steps when it comes to makeup. Then I like to use a C motion as well, like an outer normal C motion when it comes to blending out my contour. So I drag it onto my cheeks, but not too much into my cheeks. Yeah, well, so it does look natural. I did notice that I put a bit more on this side than on the other side, but okay. I mean, I'm not perfect. Life is not perfect. These things happen. So I still stick with the C motion to blend it out and to match it with that contour that I did on my forehead as well, and to blend it into my cheek, pushing it into my hairline as well, creating that C motion as I continue on. This concealer contour situation does dry out very quickly, so you have to be very, very quick, like quick hands, or else also go. Then I use my beauty blender just to blend it out a little bit more. I use that powder again from Essence in True Caramel, just to create more of a seamless look, like I said, because I want to look as natural as possible but enhanced. Then I use my contour palette from Essence in the shade, I think it's called Dark or Deep Dark. I was struggling so much with showing the product names onto my camera because they just weren't reflecting. I don't know why, but they just weren't showing. So I use that to contour my nose. Normally for daytime makeup, I like to use this palette for my whole face, but recently I've just started using a contour cream, or this concealer shade, the deep darker one, onto my face as a contour. Then I use this black jet gel liner from Beauty Treats from Dis-Chem. Beauty Treats is a Dis-Chem range. I use my powder puff whenever I pull up any part of my face to make sure I don't transfer makeup onto my fingers and leave like finger marks on my face. So I line up my waterline all over my eye. Nothing too hectic. It is daytime, so you just want to enhance your eyes but not really like scary. Then I use my Quick Face mascara, my volumizing mascara. I love this mascara. It works so well. It's shaped like it's a curved shape as well, so it does hug your eyelashes nicely, grabs them nicely. Then for lips, I like to use my LA Girl eyeliner as a lip liner and my Fenty lip gloss in the shade Cookie. That is the final makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.